Hello internet friends, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind Creation This Culture, and today is another Color Wheel Monday, the series in which I make my way through color theory one color at a time. And today we are going to be doing the gradient from deep magenta up to carabiner blue. So it's going to be all about purples, pinks, and blues, and I'm very excited about this one because I just love purples. That's all. So if you like this series, all the videos are compiled into one playlist, and you can watch them all if you want. And let's get into today's video. Welcome back to another episode of Color Wheel Monday, the series in which I make my way through color theory one color at a time. And this week we are going to be doing deep magenta and carabiner blue. So you can see I already have my mason jars spread out, and I already have my stock solutions done. So the stock solution is the liquid form of your dry powder of dyes. Sorry about that. So in each mason jars we have roughly 400 milliliter of tap water. There is no citric acid, there's no white vinegar in there, and please note I only use those for dyeing yarn. I do not use this for food. We do not want any cross contamination when it comes to dye and food, so please be aware of that. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to go from this jar up to the other one, and we're going to do the gradient like so we're going to be starting over there with 1% stock solution up until the middle for deep magenta, and then the last 5 is going to be a 1% stock solution of the carabiner blue, and we're going to do going from 0.05% depth of shade of carabiner blue up to the 1% mark, and then we're going to go from 0.75% depth of shade of deep magenta up to the 0.05% depth of shade of deep magenta. So that way we're going to have the full gradient from one color to the other one within the same sphere of episode. So we're going to start by doing the deep magenta over here, and we're going to be adding 10 milliliter of our 1% stock solution in each of the mason jars that we require. And so that we're doing it this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I want to be able to see the full gradient in one shot. So now we're going to reduce to the 7.5 milliliter of our deep magenta. Then we're going into 5 millimeter. Now we're doing 2.5 millimeter of deep magenta, 1 millimeter, and 0.5 millimeter of the deep magenta. And we're going to do the reverse now. We're going to, I'll just start over here with our 0.5 millimeter. One, 2.5, we're going into with our 5 millimeter of carabiner blue, 7.5, and now it's just going to be 10 millimeter for the rest of them. Okay, now that's done, we can add our minis. They are 10-gram mini skeins of, what's the title? They're not a fingering stroll. They are Swish fingering weight, 100% superwash merino from Nitpick. Because I'm still stuck with those mini skeins and I'm going to be using them all the way until I don't have any more of those. Ooh, that's such a pretty purple. I love that. So what we're doing here is helping opening up this mini skeins so we don't have as much resistance within the mason jars, so the color can have a better penetration in it. And we have to remember that blue is a color that will need the citric acid and the heat to fully show its true colors. So this is something to be reminded of. It might not be our final true color. And last but not least, over here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is add this to our double boiler. So I will see you in the pan. Okay, so we are going to turn on the heat right now and let it simmer for like 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to come back to add the citric acid. Okay, so it's time to add our citric acid. Rule of thumb when it comes to citric acid is about 1 teaspoon per skein of yarn. If you have 100 gram for your skein of yarn, so it comes to 1 tablespoon per pound, so 454 grams of yarn and or fiber. Did I add this stuff? And another important factor when dyeing yarn is the temperature of your water. So you want your water to be between 85 to 95 Celsius before you count down for your cooking time. So basically, once you've added the last color, the last dye of your recipe, you need to make sure that you are at the right temperature, and then you can count down to 30 minutes. Sometimes with blues, you will need closer to a 45 minutes of cook time, but it should never exceed 45 minutes because you could overcook your yarn and then the integrity of the fiber would be compromised. and we don't want crunchy yarn. So I'm going to let it wait for the water to reach its temperature, and then I'm going to do a 30 minutes countdown. And then once it's done, we are going to turn off the heat, let it completely cool off before washing off any excess dye and letting it dry overnight. So I will see you later. Okay, I think that's going to be our best. Okay, let's do this now. I already know we're going to have a lot of bleeding coming from the deep magenta side because there's a lot of color left in the mason jars that I have. So we're going to do a first soak, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to quickly show you the mason jars, and then we're going to come back to this later. So as you can see, we have a lot of color. I will be taking those and I will dye something with it because yikes. Okay. I had all 11 of them. And you can see, like I said, we were going to have a lot of color bleeding. Hopefully we had most of it within the first soak, but yeah, we had most of it in the first soak, so we should be able to do something with that. I will most likely put some skein of yarn in that excess. Yeah, we're all good. I'll probably just put some bare skeins in there because I don't want to waste all that color. So I'm going to put the minis in the spin dryer and then let it dry overnight, and I will see you tomorrow for the final result. Bye. And here's the final result for the gradient that we've made going from deep magenta to carabiner blue. And you can see how the fade is just perfect. So if you ever want to do a fade from one color to the other one, this is the way I would recommend you to do it. So that way you have a almost perfect fade from one color to the other one, because we can see here, between those colors there's a slight difference, but it is very subtle. But you would still need to try to alternate between those two skeins to have a smoother transition between those colors, where over here I don't think you would need to do a whole lot for those transitions to go into one another. So yeah, it's super fun. I'm very happy I chose to do 11 skeins instead of the 6 that we were doing previously. I hope you've liked this. If you prefer this format, this is the format I will be going with in moving forward anyway, so that you can see the whole fade in one video instead of multiple parts. So it's just going to make it easier for everyone involved, I think, and you can truly see how the transitions work. And that's pretty much it. I hope you've liked the video, and if you did, please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye!